Boscobel House, tucked into a rural corner on the borders of Shropshire and Staffordshire, and hardly any distance from the urban sprawl of the Black Country, is a fascinating mish-mash of architectural styles and romantic fantasy. But this is a place where stories steer history, as well as influencing the national psyche over several centuries. In fact, it's the home of one of the greatest public relation coups ever seen in England. The reality back in the middle of the 17th century was that after years of begging and scraping together money and support from around Catholic Europe, Charles II, son of the loser of the English Civil War, invaded Britain in a bid to recover what he considered his throne, by divine right, of course. Despite the support of 14,000 Scottish troops, he was defeated roundly at the Battle of Worcester, with the loss of 5,000 lives, and began scuttling around the countryside to avoid the triumphant forces of Oliver Cromwell. Charles was running away after an ignominious defeat, leaving thousands of fatherless families and crippled soldiers to pay the price of his failure. Not a good look for a monarch allegedly appointed by God. But, assisted by faithful Catholic families, he reached Boscobel and skulked in the house, as well as spending part of one day hiding in the canopy of a pollarded oak tree near the building. He then moved on, always with the assistance of ordinary Catholics, to finally creep out of England in disguise on board a trading ship, his bid to win the throne in tatters. Yet, out of that story of failure and defeat, Charles and those around him spun a tale of heroism and triumph, as the English Heritage Guide puts it. When Charles was invited to take the throne after the Republican protectorate of Oliver Cromwell and then his son disintegrated, he made the story of the Boscobel Oak central to his celebrations, remembering, apparently a decade later, that there'd been parliamentary troops seen from his treetop hideout. Charles spun the story as symbolic of his courage and heroism, and the loyalty of his subjects, of course, creating Oak Apple Day to commemorate his escape, and encouraging writers like Samuel Pepys to immortalise him in print. The tale captured the imagination of the Romantic movement in the late 18th century, and the largely nationalistic members of the movement idealised both the runaway royal and the stalwart commoners who helped him. Victorian authors then elaborated on the story, and Boscobel House was actually bought by a cotton factory owner who restored it almost as a shrine to the royal bravery of Charles II. Of course, that went down very well in the era of empire and the reign of Queen Victoria, Empress of India, and the royal family has long been willing to endorse the story. To this day, the story that is begun by Charles II to praise his own fortitude and just maybe to deflect from the scandals which were to surround his reign as his mistresses and illegitimate children multiplied. Even during the years of the Second World War, George VI visited Boscobel to tap into the national pride the story seemed to evoke. And I can recall Oak Apple Day events in some towns and villages in the 1960s. It's celebrated even now, with a parade by Chelsea pensioners attended by the Queen each May the 29th. Now, that's a piece of spin that even today's masters of the art would be proud to put their names to.